So here we are once again, back in the City of Angels, on a bit of a bumper episode on this Mercedes 190 SL. But stick with us because we're also going to be paying a visit to International Trimmers GAHH in North Hollywood to treat the car to a new set of carpets and sort out those sagging seat bases. I also nip over to Vegas to check out Video Bob Mosley's new Corniche, and if you want to see how that transpired, check it all out in the last episode. But first of all, let's get back to those final jobs in hand and finally bring this beautiful classic to a conclusion and over the finish line. So first up is that floor-mounted windscreen washer, and after 60 years of wear and tear and filled with crud, it's finally bitten the dust, excuse the pun. So it's just 4 bolts, the kick panel, and these 2 tricky ones which are just here under the wheel arch. Easier said than done. Okay, so I've got this, eventually got this washer motor off, if you can call it that. So this is the way it works. You push your foot on it, it pushes the bellows in, which is basically disintegrated, as you can see. If I undo this, it's the bracket that holds it on. That was a bar steward to get off, and then the bellows, oh, you got another nut here, so this nut comes off like that. Work of art, this, eventually, and then this should in effect push through. So there's your bellows, see the back of them anyway. And you can buy these, I think they're about 20 bucks or something. And then you basically just fit your bellow over this. And then, look at the state of that. 60 odd years of wear. It all goes back together again. You've got 2 electric wires that go in. And this basically, on the end of this here, you've got your washer pipe, which goes under and goes to the bottle, which you fitted in the engine bay. And then, that's how it propels your water through and through your squirties and your bonnet onto your screen. And simple but really clever at the same time. So I'll order a new one of these, clean it all up, put it back together again, and we should be good to go. Yeah. So there you have it. Okay, it's a little bit difficult to get to, but it's really not that difficult, is it? A little bit fiddly. But once it's done, it's done. And like I say, it's good enough for another 60 years or so. A little bit prehistoric, but that'll do. So it's then onto them nylon bushes on the gear stick selector. If you remember, I did a makeshift repair, so these served a purpose, but have since been able to acquire an original set from the net. Just look at that. Bits of the old ones, dissolved. So now these can go back to where they came from. And just to stop these beauty rings from coming off, which is a common problem with these, I've decided to fit some double-sided sticky tape and bang them back on. That usually does the trick. And while I'm at it, I'll switch over this rusty old mirror for a new one. So with the car sounding nice and the gear changes nice and smooth, I'm off to GAHH to sort this interior. So with that underway, let's go and check out what this company is all about and a sneak peek at some Ferrari seats that they're currently working on. So Nishan.
Hi.
This is Nishan, who's Vice President of all the operations here, and he's just going to explain to me about what this is off a Daytona Ferrari, is it?
Yeah, actually we're doing a Dino Daytona Ferrari, exactly like the original, leather with vinyl stripes. This is the original, and we replicate.
So were they originally vinyl?
They are originally vinyl, yeah. And this is a part of the inserts, which we will complete it in few hours.
What about the leather?
The leather is imported. All our leathers are European leather.
So this would be correct to what was used at the time, or near as?
It is the same grain. It has the same grain and the same color, exactly like the original. And this leather comes from Italy. Because the Ferrari is an Italian car.
And tell me, how long would a full interior for one of these Daytonas, how long would that take to make from scratch?
Including cutting, preparing, sewing, it will take almost a day and a half.
Yeah,
to make
that's quick.
Yeah, because
I thought you were going to say like a month.
No, the reason is because we have all the patterns, computerized, digitized. We use a CNC cutting machine to cut our leather. That's why we are quick, and our workmanship. They have been like over 25 years here, and they know how to do all this all the time.
So, for argument's sake, Nishan, if somebody was restoring their car and they were going to use a company, the company would then go to you. You would do the work. So they could, in effect, cut out the middleman, couldn't they? If they came to you, they get the job done much quicker and probably save a bit of money on the deal as well.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
Nishan, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And I think you've got a fantastic building here. I mean, it's just vast. Okay, John.
Hey, Gary.
It's been like 17, 18 years since I last saw you.
As time flies.
When I was doing the Mercedes, I was doing a 108 and a 111 220 SE, remember?
Yes.
But I've noticed that this wasn't the place I came to all that time ago. So show me around a bit, John.
Okay, let's walk over here. This is basically leather storage area where they have
all the hides
for Porsches, Jags, Rolls-Royce, Mercedes. This is, by the way, Nishan's father.
Oh, right.
He is 94 years old.
94 years old.
Is an old timer, yeah. He's an original with GHH since 1981.
That's probably when he retired, wasn't it?
He's also here patterning new products, checking some of the patterns, make sure everything is fitting on right. This is the main leather cutting machine that they do cut the seats, leather and vinyl. If there's anything hand cut or custom or one of a kind, Nishan's father, he will cut it himself. And this is the other area where I told you about the covers that we're making, the slip-on covers.
Oh, yeah.
So this is the assembly line for that. So this is headliner materials. This is 110 one here.
Yeah, that's the colour I've got on my black Cornish.
Yeah, these are basically headliners, vinyl, cloth, wool, whatever.
That's Mercedes, isn't it?
Yes, some of the stuff we use for Porsches as well. Stretch wool for 111s and early 50s cars, 60s. Yeah, these are the newer generation SLs or the convertible 124s. Yeah, this is mainly the canvas, convertible top fabrics, vinyl or what do you call it? Mohair, as you call it in UK. Yeah, these are all for that. And these are the physical patterns, carpeting and other things.
I noticed 190 SL here.
Yes, everything it's digitized into the cutting system, but if they have to have a physical check on something, they'll come here, and sometimes they need to cut individual pieces. Yeah, this is the clicker press. They would do this on a 111s, on 113s.
Yeah.
109s or the channel holes where they punch between the pleat. You put the leather, it will punch the straight line.
So does this do like the railway and all the different patterns?
Exactly.
And that, yeah?
This will do the embossing, basket weave or whatever the area is. This is for the newer cars, Porsches, Mercedes, the one with the perforated holes. And this is an automated carousel for convertible tops, headliners. They will fit it here. This machine here will do the stock cutting. So they could do up to 10 layers, like 10 tops, 10 headliners at once.
And they're all really accurate as well.
It gets very little disturbance when you do jigsaw cutting rather than rolling over it. Another cutting machine, there's 3 more machines there.
Just the sheer size of the place is blowing me away.
Yeah.
So are these convertible tops here?
Yeah.
No, I noticed some already made up here with the cables, with the wires as well.
Yes, this is Porsche.
Porsche.
The guy over there is doing the 107, I think, and it's working on the Ferraris they do over here. So basically it gets cut over there, comes to sewers, it comes here afterward, they do the pressing or whatever the heat pressing needs to be done, and it goes back to them to finish the edging or the windows or whatever they need to address it, and it comes over here where they will do the final thing. This is Porsche 911 top.
And how do you press the window section? The window's sewn in already?
This one is sewn in, yeah. The front section, it's already done here as well. So I'm gonna go to this guy's over here for packing, a box, and it goes straight to the shipping. Yeah, this is a mechanical section. It's a little machine shop place that the one person does, creating the loops for the seats, cables for the tops, everything gets
that's the
prepped
miserable
over there.
corner, isn't it? I wouldn't like to be stuck in
well,
there
the guy's
all day
pretty much busy with that stuff and the repairs and things like that, yeah.
What do you use for the door panels, John? Like a thin card, is it? Because I noticed on the 113s, it's got a very fine channel all the way around of chrome, and if you don't get the right thickness, you won't
show you. I will show you the boards. So this is what they do today with 113s.
Pagoda.
The boards. It's punctured, shot one punch with that machine. On this particular style, when you put the foam, you leave about ½ inch.
That's right, yeah.
Out. Yeah. So when you put the leather, it will fit in the channel without hurting the leather. Otherwise, it won't be pressed against it. This is a 190 SL doors. It's a pair. Yeah. Same thing we used to make for 113s. We do masonry board. You could sand them down.
Yeah.
But we don't sand them when we send them out because God forbid they drop it.
Yeah.
It will chip right away.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of work in doing a door panel, isn't there? I mean, getting it just right so it fits into the channel.
Most of the, these things fit 99% accurate. There's minor tweaking needed always, you know, with the car that age.
They wear back at the factory in Stuttgart anyway.
Yeah. Same material for 107s. Yeah. This one side is waterproof, so you glue on the other side.
Yeah.
This stays in the door. And this is basically the packing area and shipping. This is where the products come. That's about it.
Well, that was a pretty comprehensive tour, that, John.
It's almost 30,000 square feet here.
So this is in for a full interior, is it, John?
This is going to be full interior, yes. We're going to do carpeting.
And this is having seats as well, is it? Oh,
The seats are out there. They're gonna be getting new padding for the driver's seat and a headrest and new covers, basically.
There's a huge market for this stuff. You can't get the workmanship in the UK for this kind of thing. You know, it's a dying art, it really is.
It is. Since COVID, a lot of these guys, old generation guys, went away, closed the shops, and it's pretty, I said we have probably a handful left who know these cars.
Well, look at him. Once the 94-year-old goes and you got, that's it, finished.
Yeah. But
John, I'm just so glad you're still here. So after that nice little interlude, it's back to the 190 SL for the fitting of its soundproofing. Now you notice the soundproofing they're actually using is not like the original. Because of US laws and regulations, they're basically using the best of what they're allowed to use. Now, of course, this is a job I could have done myself, but with JH's expertise, I thought it'd be much more interesting to show their fitting process from beginning to end. Plus, John's always on hand to help and guide customers from all over the world on correct fitment of original interiors for their beloved classics. Now let's check out these carpets. Original German weave. Now as you can see, I've gone for a slightly darker shade because I just think it looks much cleaner. Just look how much fresher these look compared to the old ones. With all that looking smart, next to the seat bases, and I'm redirected to Gary the Guru to reconstruct them. Basically, I've purchased two bases. They came from Maryland, quite expensive as well. I think they're about $600. And what I'm going to try and do is, you see the way this becomes saggy over time, and it just feels like it's collapsed when you're driving. I just think if you replace these, you transform the whole ride and the feel of the car. The problem you've got is, if you look at the shape of this, it goes out one side, but it's pretty straight the other side. These go out both sides. So Gary here is going to basically adapt this, take the leather off and adapt this so it all fits nice and tight. I think he's got to sew it in as well, so it doesn't slide when you're sitting on the seat. Pretty involved job, but I'm told he's the best, so I'm looking forward to the results. And the next day, so explain what you've done. It looks fantastic, by the way. What did you do? How did you get that shape?
Cut it all.
You cut it and filled it, yeah?
Yeah, I cut it open the old one.
Yeah.
And put it inside the foam, and then close with the two another foam.
That is just unbelievable. That's like, that's a trillion times better, that.
All from inside and outside. Everything is new one.
And did you have to stitch? Did you have to put any stitches
in? I do with this.
Yeah. Wow, that's old school, that. Yeah. Gary, thanks very much.
You're welcome. Anytime.
Thank you. Okay, so I've removed the door panels in the hope that I could regulate how far up the window goes, because I think what's happened is sometime in the past it's had a hard top and the windows have been adjusted to hit the hard top, which is about 1 inch higher than if you've got your soft top. So what you're meant to do is take the door panel off when you take the hard top off and then readjust so it just fits up to the soft top. At the moment they're coming up 1 inch too high. So I thought it'd be a simple job of just taking the door panel off, and you'd have stops which are basically down here, which just seem to be missing. So somewhere along the line they've been taken off and not put back on. I checked with the Mercedes Classic Centre and they're no longer available, so here we go again. It's something I could probably make if I can't find them back in the UK. And then, you know, I can make it work as it should. You've got like little brackets here, like an L-shaped bracket here and here. And I think the L-shaped bracket at the bottom of the rubber bung, just as the window comes up, it just mates with that and that stops it from going up any further. But what I did manage to get was these, the rubbers for the door handles, which are clearly missing. These were the only ones available. They didn't have the big one at the back, but I can only do what I can. So crack on. Now when I took the car in for the wheel alignment on the last trip, he almost got it right, but there was just one bolt that was completely seized on the steering. And after they'd taken my $275, yeah, $275 for a 15-minute wheel alignment, now armed with my Febby kit that I brought over from the UK, I set about the blow lamp to heat it up, free it up and fit the new parts before returning it for a realignment. Free of charge, I might add. And by turning this big bolt, it's what gives you the adjustment. Now this is what the concentric washer looks like inside. And once the new bolt and washer are fitted, and the adjustment made, it's locked up. The main reason for components locking up is lack of grease, and sometimes it's caused by a blocked grease nipple. So I'll clean this one out and I apply fresh grease. Job done. So it's back to cowboy land, rechecked, and the guy said it was perfect. Now another job I had to revisit was, remember that steering shock absorber I tried to fit unsuccessfully before the end of the last trip over? Well, schoolboy error, I'm afraid, because in my haste I'd left the bushing on the shaft and that's why it wouldn't go on. So thanks to Paul White for messaging in and flagging that one up. You know, I later recall the same thing happening to a Pagoda I did some years back. It all seems to come back to you after you've made that same mistake all over again. So the clock's ticking by and it's just 24 hours before I fly back. But there was just one more issue I wanted to resolve. The return spring on the accelerator pedal. Now the problem I was having when I was pulling up at a junction, the car just seemed to rev too high, like the pedal wasn't returning. So I replaced the spring, but then I found out what the real problem was. Right, I just want to show you this. This is the accelerator rod. Look at the bend in it. And look at this. I don't think I've seen anything like that before. They've literally, it's snapped or it wasn't long enough, so they've welded another one onto it. I mean, just look at the state of that. That's absolutely awful. No wonder the accelerator pedal was a little bit tight and it doesn't sort of return properly, and you know, the car over revs sometimes, even though I've tuned the carburetors in. It's like you just, I mean, you're fighting against the likes of this. I've never seen anything like that. What a joke. Oh well, that's what I've got to work with. Plod on, onwards and upwards. And while I'm there, I might as well remove this pivot that the rod fits onto, clean it up, grease it up, and then refit it. When these become semi-seized, this is another common problem that's often overlooked for a bind and accelerator pedal. So the next morning, just 12 hours before my flight, I make the mad dash, an hour's drive down to Long Beach to the Mercedes Classic Centre in hope to get the parts. Whilst there's always something interesting to see. The ex-Roy Orbison car, finally finished and being picked up by the happy customers. Well, I'd hate to guess what their bill was. But I'm sure it was definitely worth it. Wow, what a stunning car. So just in the nick of time, I returned triumphantly, a new accelerator rod. This is the old, and just look at it compared to the new. Along with a new rubber for the accelerator pedal, just to finish the job. So here we are again, coming to the end of our journey. It's been a long one, I'll tell you that. And it just seems the more jobs I've done on the car, there's always something else to do. So I hate to say it, but I get that sneaking feeling I'm going to be back in the not too distant future. Could be worse, I suppose. But the car was basically dead. It had been off the road for 24 years. And as you can see, it's come a long way since then. So it's back to the pouring down rain and the hurricane winds in the UK. And we're going to have to leave this place behind us now. But I will say one thing, it's certainly been an experience. So, coming to the same spot I pulled up to just 8 months earlier, who would have guessed a car I was asked to take a quick look at and maybe get started would actually amount to this? And you know, I totted up the amount of days in total I've actually worked on the car, and it amounts to 40 days. Long days albeit, but it just shows you what can actually be achieved in such a short space of time. I'm just a one-man band, but it's certainly food for thought when an owner puts his beloved classic into a garage and then doesn't see it for years. Anyway, I'll leave you with that one. Anyway, back to the present. I feel blessed that I can travel to such beautiful places and work on beautiful cars and meet so many interesting people with amazing stories. And it makes me realise we've all got one thing in common: the love of cars. It's what brings us together. Thank you for watching this episode of Classic Obsession. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe. And see you all next time.